Hello and welcome back to another video by yours truly. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at this beautiful titanium mod for your Casio G-Shock Square. So we have the Casio GWM5610 right here with a titanium mod. The titanium mod is kind of like a homage. I mean, it's like a Casio that's pretending to be the more fancy TVA version of this watch that costs thousands of dollars. I mean, it just looks like the TVA, but obviously it's not the same quality. For example, it says diamond-like carbon coating, but this doesn't have the diamond-like carbon coating, obviously, and also the module number is not correct. It does not have Bluetooth like the TVA model. It just looks like the TVA model, right? I don't really want to spend $1,000 or $2,000 on a Casio G-Shock TVA limited edition, and probably neither do you. But if you want to have those cool titanium look from the TVA, I highly suggest you check out this mod. So what's really awesome about titanium that compared to steel, right, this is stainless steel right here, compared to steel, it's a lot lighter, but it's not as light as plastic, and it's also a lot warmer to the touch because I believe it's called the coefficient of heat transfer or something. I remember something like that in chemistry class or physics class, is the speed in which heat transfers from one material to another. From steel to your hands is a lot faster. That's why if you feel the steel is colder than, for example, if you touch something like wood or air, right? So if you the biggest comparison is if you go into a pool, you feel the heat transfer a lot faster, you feel a lot colder than if you were just standing in the air, right? Even though if the water and the air are the same temperature, you go in the pool, you feel cold a lot faster. It's the same principle right here with the steel. If you touch the steel, heat transfers faster, so you feel the steel is colder even if it's the same temperature as the titanium right here. So it's a very interesting material. And the first time I had lifted this out of the box, it really felt like mind-boggling to me because I was expecting, steel. And I also have the steel version of this bracelet. I'll show you guys later. It's really cool. I'm just going to be showing you guys this watch. The buttons are not impeded at all. I can operate the watch no problem. The bezel is a little shiny right here, and the rest of the watch is in this matte finish. Like I said, the module number and whatever, it's not correct. It's just a homage of that super expensive fancy watch. Very easy mod to do. I'm going to be putting this watch back on the rubber strap so that you can see how to do this mod yourself and also compare it with the stainless steel version. All right, so this is what the mod kit looks like. We have the bezel as well as the bracelet as well as two screwdrivers, one for removing the screws from your watch and the other one to insert the screws that comes with the bracelet. Also comes with spring bar tool, bracelet adjustment tool, some extra pins in case you lose them. These are the original screws that comes with the watch itself. And they also include an extra screw if you lose a screw. So it's very nice. If you lose like a pin or a spring bar or a screw, there's extras in the kit for that. Here is the titanium bezel. We have a polished surface right here that is a little bit of a fingerprint magnet. To be honest, I wish it was not polished like this and matte like the rest of the case, but I guess they're trying to go for, the TVA look. The back, you can see that this is just like some electric tape that's taping this red part right here. So, I mean, it's not the same quality as the TVA, that's for sure. This is not like $1,000 watch. This is like a $100 mod kit. Diamond-like carbon coating, there's none of that on this watch, obviously. There's no 3459 module either with a Bluetooth. It just looks like the TVA. Let's just like to remind the viewers right here. And the paint, I don't know how it's going to hold up over time. It probably is going to go off with some scratches. I've seen some, views of the TVAs that are used. The paint does come off of the actual TVAs as well. The screws, I've only sized it like once or twice, and you can see the paint has already started to come off. I think that's one of the beauties with G-Shocks is that, if you beat up a G-Shock, it still looks good. Unlike, let's say, if you have a super fancy dress watch or whatever, if you beat it up, it doesn't look as good anymore. If you get some scratches and scuffs on this bracelet, I think it'll just add character to the watch itself. The titanium is a material that has been really mind-boggling. As soon as I took it out of the box, it was just like, I was expecting steel, right? Because all my watches are mostly in steel or in bronze, so they're very heavy materials, and just having this titanium on my hands just like kind of plays tricks with the mind a little bit. Just to give you an example, right? I have this bracelet, the bezel itself, as well as the extra links. This compared to just the bracelet of the steel one that I have. I have the steel one I'm going to talk about a little bit later. It just was too heavy to be comfortable, and I just never wore it. I think I maybe wore it once or twice, and that is about it. So just the bracelet of the steel one that is size, you know, it doesn't even have the 5 extra links. Just the bracelet is heavier than the whole mod kit, the bezel, extra links, as well as the bracelet itself. Just this bracelet is heavier than this. I know this is like, you can't feel it on the camera, but trust me, titanium is a mind-boggling material, because when you're so used to stainless steel, it just kind of plays tricks with your mind a little bit. And also, like I mentioned in the introduction, it doesn't feel cold like the steel one. The steel one, if I touch it, it feels cold to the hand, whereas for the titanium one, it does not feel cold, and it feels super light. It's kind of like in between plastic, because I also have the plastic bracelet for this. The combi bracelet feels very light, very nimble, but also feels not as solid as steel. But this just feels very solid, also being super lightweight. So I don't know how to explain it. I think you have to really just like feel it in person to understand it. There also exists a stainless steel version of this bracelet. I highly recommend the titanium one, even though it's like a little bit more expensive, just so you can experience titanium. If you don't have a titanium watch, I highly recommend it. All right, so how do we do this mod? It's very easy. I mean, there's already some tutorials on YouTube about this. First of all, I already removed the screws, but you would use this screwdriver right here, the screwdriver with the pointy tip, to remove all 4 screws from your existing watch. And then remove the bezel, all right? Remove the bezel, it removes very easily. And then use a spring bar tool to remove the strap. Now we have the naked module. I highly advise, if the module is dirty, has some grime or arm cheese around it, to just wash it under the sink, you know, scrub it a little bit to make it clean before you install the new mod. Now the trick with these mods is, if you want an easier time, install the bracelet first and then install the bezel, because the bezel is very easily installed right here. You just have to, you know, put it on. That's it. You know, it's very easy. You just put on the bezel and then put in the 4 screws, but the bracelet can be a little bit more tricky to install. So I highly advise you install the bracelet first and then the bezel second. All right, so what we're gonna do is put in the quick release spring bars inside of the little tab right here, and go ahead and put this thing in the hole. That's what she said. All right, so here we have it. All right, as soon as it clicks, give it a little wiggle to make sure that it is in. Just do the same thing on the other side. Sometimes it can be a little bit harder to put in, like this one right here. Just have some patience. Or if you want to make your life a lot easier, you can, you know, undo this part right here. You remove the quick adjustment pin, and you won't have this part in front of your face. I'm just doing this because I am lazy. All right, so another trick you can do is that I can push this in. I don't know if you can see it. I just push this part in and then push this part in, and it's in. And then before you do anything, just make sure to give it a little bit of a wiggle to make sure that, you know, the hole is in the hole. And then we're gonna install the bezel. Like I said, it's very easy to install the bezel. We're going to be installing all the 4 screws with the other screwdriver. Now, what I like to do with these screws, you don't have to do this, but I learned this from, you know, building computers, is to screw in the one opposite to each other and then just tighten them a little bit all at the same time. So for example, I put this in first, and I put this in, and then put this in, and I put this in, and then not tighten them all the way, but then tighten a little bit here, tighten a little bit here, and then tighten a little bit here, and tighten a little bit here. And that makes it more of an even fit, rather than fully tightening, you know, one screw at a time. I just like slowly tighten, you know, alternate screws all the time, and then you'll probably get a better fit than if you were to just fully tighten one screw and then try to tighten the other screws as well. So this is what I like to do. I learned it from building computers. You know, when you install a processor on a computer, you would tighten the opposing ends of the screws first, and then the other two opposing ends, and then like add a little bit of pressure to each screw at a time so that you apply equal amount of pressure on each side so that the heat sink can get contact with the CPU. My fellow PC master racers out there can attest to this. So we're just going to be tightening it up a little bit at a time, each screw. And once you feel like it's tight enough, you don't need to like put in a lot of force. You just have to hand tighten it. As long as the screws don't come loose, you're going to be fine. One thing I noticed, like I said before, is that the paint does come off the screws. I don't know if you can see it right here. Some paint did come off the screws just from installing this a couple of times. I believe I only installed it once and then removed it for the video and installed it back again. And the paint is already gone from the screws. So the paint from these probably not as resistant, but time will tell. I haven't really worn this watch in the wild yet. If you have the DW5600 version of this watch, worry not. There is a mod kit for that watch as well as a bunch of other watches. You can see the compatibility on the first link in the description section below. You can purchase this from AliExpress. I do not make any commissions from this. I know a lot of YouTubers, you know, they're gonna try to sell you watches on AliExpress so they can make some money, but this is purely for entertainment and educational purposes only. I just wanted to show you guys this cool titanium mod for my G-Shock GWM5610 G-Shock Square, and I think it's a really cool mod. I mean, it's metal and it's not super heavy and uncomfortable like the stainless steel one. I used to have the GMW B5000, the steel version. It was just too heavy and uncomfortable, and I sold that watch. The mod right here, I don't really wear it because it's not really comfortable for daily wear. Whereas for this titanium one, it feels as light, no, just a little bit heavier than the resin one, but it just feels super solid and quality. And come on, it looks so damn cool right here on my 6.5-inch wrist. I know somebody is gonna ask, 6.5-inch wrist right here. Looks really good on my wrist right here. I was really satisfied with the mod, and I really like how the red stripe of the watch matches with the red of the mod right here. So I'm very happy about this mod. If you're interested, of course, first link down in the description section below. If you have any questions, do not hesitate to write in the comment section of this video. And until next time, thank you very much for watching. Do not hesitate to like, comment, and subscribe.